So now let's talk about the managerial issues that might occur within the company. So according to our group analysis, several managerial issues that might occur include the effective communications with the employees. Since speaking of the company size, ST Indonesia is a big company that should have more than hundreds of employees. This could damage the manager-employee relationship since everyone communicates differently. It is also found that this problem was the biggest cause of stress for employees in United Kingdom in 2020. And decreased performance levels can also become serious if not handled properly. In some period of times, employees might be not in their prime productive states where it could affect their downstream production of the products. Not to mention that sometimes staff adjustments may also need to be taken in order to increase the productivity and cut off some unnecessary expenses. Sometimes, workplace setting could also affect the performance of each employee. It is important for the employee to feel that they are connected to the company and familiarize themselves with the vision and mission of ST Indonesia. It is important for the managers to be able to classify different types of employee according to their characteristics so they would feel welcomed every time they start working, which would increase their work productivity, of course. Sometimes, the tasks between the employee are not fair from one to each other. This is where the manager should manage the system so the employees will not feel the sense of compulsion. Other managerial issues that can also arise include the structure turbulence, where a system doesn't work optimally and cause disturbance in the workflow. For instance, the barista was suddenly ill while customers are a lot, meaning that someone should take over the workload. Not to mention that sometimes internal conflicts within the company can also occur. For example, due to miscommunication in the production target or something like that. Starting for 2020, ever since COVID-19 arose, there has been a huge shifting in the working system from offline to online working. For those whose work is in the production of the product, they still need to come to the company or the shop following a strict health protocols with limited staff. But for those who can do their job remotely, it is hard to observe whether they are doing the things properly or not. Manager has to create a system where they can maintain the productivity of each employee through a limited conditions and resources. For instance, sometimes employees who work at home has a decreased performance rather than when he or she was working offline. So next, these are the other possible issues that might arise within the company. Let me start off with the innovations. In Indonesia, there are so many other businesses similar to ST Indonesia, for example Teh Kocok, Happy Lemon, or something like that. With these competitions, the company should be able to innovate to create a specific reasons why customers should buy their drink at ST Indonesia compared to other tea shops. In order for the business to succeed, the target market and society should be clear enough considering the diversity that have enough buying power and likes tea. For example, in big cities for office people. For example, when the shop opens at the locations where it is mainly consisted of old people, the company would not be profitable since they are not going to buy the much sweet things. And not to mention that the globalization is also important for the company to be acknowledged across national and international regions. ST Indonesia itself is owned by Nagita Slavina, who is an actress and influencer in Indonesia. However, there are also many other similar businesses owned by other influencers, for instance Yubati, which is owned by Reza Arab Octavian. By this competing threat, ST Indonesia must create a way to engage more people to considering buying their products rather than from other businesses. Sometimes, we also can't help if the customers give the business bad review due to improper service given by the employees. Rude and not friendly and sociable employees should not be hired, but in the actual field, we cannot make sure either the employees will fit for the job from the beginning unless they are given the chance to perform in the field. The company should pay attention to this kind of matters. So how do we find a solution towards this problem? This will be explained by my colleague Next, Aurel.